Hello, everybody. Okay, I'm so excited for this conversation. Everybody, we're going to have me and Kimberly here today. Hey, girl. And we are talking about what this incredible journey has been for her. Hey, Kimberly.
Hello.
Hey, how are you doing today?
I am doing great.
Good.
I feel great.
Okay, good. Well, let's get people a couple moments to get in here. And then we're going to talk about your amazing, transformational, cleansing, healing journey, aren't we?
I'm very dancey tonight. Yes, we are.
Okay,
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm reminiscing about my cleansing and healing journey and thinking about it was just really like the big parts of it were just so long ago, you know? So long ago, but it's still the most amazing journey. You know, the journey of you were always different before you began, and then forevermore you're different afterwards, right?
Mm-hmm.
Should we just dive in?
Let's just dive in.
Okay, good. So do you want to start with talking about this journey that you've recently been through? Big picture, what did you do? What are you just completing?
So I just completed, it was Saturday was my last day on it was a 28-day cleanse protocol, but I prepped for 11 days before that. I was prepping and I kept going, okay, I just need to start. And I was like, oh gosh, once I start, I can't turn back, right? So it was it was that thing. And I remember I said to you, okay, I'm just going to start tomorrow. And I started on a Saturday, and then everything shifted from, I was doing just raw vegan intermittent fasting. So I would eat maybe around noon to 6, mostly fruit.
Yeah.
And then I started the cleanse 11 days after that. I think it was 11 days. I'm pretty sure.
Amazing. So you've just gone through a very structured cleanse, right? Utilizing enemas, nutrition, herbs, and supplements.
Yes.
To completely overhaul everything.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So why did you choose to cleanse in this way? Because there's so many different ways to cleanse.
Right.
There's unlimited ways to cleanse. What made you choose this way?
Well, I was reading that book that you had recommended to me a while back, Cleanse and Purify Thyself. And I know numerous times, Ivy and I talk a lot during the day and stuff, and numerous times I would read stuff and I would say, oh gosh, I need to do this. I need to do this because a lot of even what was prompting me in those moments was how being unclean or how having all this in my body was impacting my moods, impacting my ability to discern, impacting my ability to think clearly, my energy levels, all of that. And I was doing colonics and enemas before I really realized all of this too. So I had already began doing a little bit of cleansing, but the impact wasn't there because what I was putting in wasn't derivative of a cleanse of a healthy human being. It was whatever the hell I felt like eating.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I've always been relatively healthy and made good choices relatively. But then there's those days where I go nuts,
right?
Tiramisu, and it's 2 tacos and corn and, a bunch of chips and guacamole and stuff. Those are my favorite things, right?
But if you're right, so if you're eating like that whenever you want, however you want, and still doing the enemas and still drinking more water, it's that's good. That's a great place to be for maintenance, right? But if you want to do that transformational work, it wasn't going to get you there, right?
Right. Yeah. And so I was just really noticing that my body wasn't aligned with what I was wanting in my heart, really. And so I wasn't treating my body the way with the importance of what I was wanting to achieve spiritually, personally, and that misalignment was just creating havoc.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. And a lot of people don't actually get to that place of being okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it until they're like sick and tired enough of being sick and tired. That's such a typical theme within people going on the holistic transformation, right?
Right.
So for
Right.
you, what were you feeling like? Like, what was your beginning point? And tell us as far as like poop, belly, body image, sleep, energy, like the whole gamut, emotions. Like, what was the experience of being you like a month ago or 40 days ago?
Yeah, such a good question. Such a good question. Physically bloated, physically puffy, not just bloated like in the belly, but as I was eating what I was eating, I was inflamed. So physical pain, bloaty, which nobody likes to be bloaty. Nobody. I mean, I don't know a single person that likes to be bloaty. I just hate that feeling. Mentally confused.
Okay.
Just not able to nail things down, not able to flow with my heart, not able to give and serve in the way that I imagine, like I can see myself doing, but just unable to tap into that.
Yeah. Like an inertia, like a friction, like a static, like what did that feel like?
Brain fog.
That right there, that right there will fog up everything, right?
Yeah. Like confusion, like real true, like almost like just unable to tap into my knowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And those are all the things that it's like inside, it's like you not desperately want, but it's like you know that those things are yours to be and feel, right? But there's like there's a buffer in the way or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I knew I wasn't expressing myself in the way that I could, because I was like, I couldn't nail anything down. I couldn't like tap in. I could sometimes, but for the most part, like there's a definite difference now. There's a definite difference now in how I even carry myself. So, before, I was sucking in a lot, because I was pooching. And so as far as elimination, I was, I was a pretty good pooper, but I had that pressure in my body, that pressure that just never, it was almost like, it was like it wouldn't go away completely. Like something was always there. So I never felt completely empty or, well, for sure I didn't feel clean. And then also guilty feelings, self-pressure, like, why do I do this to myself? A lot of that, beating myself up.
Yeah. And all of those feelings, I'm sure, like, thank you for sharing them, because to me, those paint such a good picture, because that's a lot of the stuff that most everybody is feeling.
Yeah.
Right? It's like remembering that what's all stuck up inside of you and in all of your cells and in all of your fat cells, that's pretty much the same stuff stuck in other people's stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it's such a universal feeling. And again, that buffer, that inertia, that stuff that's stuck in us, like, to little fault of our own, it's a symptom of this matrix, right? Like you and I keep talking about in every episode of the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the inability to really even emote completely without a lot of efforting.
Really?
Like really having to push. Like what it was really was like taking advantage of moments that would pop up. So it's like, oh, I hear a song, it makes me cry. Okay, get on the floor, do this, take advantage of this moment. You're crying. Keep it coming, keep it coming. Oh, wait, it kind of stopped.
Is that really what it was like? Really?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, that's so interesting.
Mm-hmm. And having to physically work harder to do stuff. So for instance, yoga. So really having to effort more there, as opposed to being complete with my cleanse and doing yoga and being like, where'd this body come from?
You share the difference in like what does yoga feel like? Because I know the difference in my body is like you go into down dog or you go into up dog, and it's like, or even into inversions, and it's like you just have this strength and this like it's a buoyancy.
Yeah.
Like you can just
Yes.
right, and
Yeah.
it's like way less effort.
Right. When I started practicing this past Sunday, I started holding myself. I was like, okay, well, I need to be careful about this because I have this back thing. Da, 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 da. And then I was like, wait a minute. No, shoot down and whoop, back up again. And, you know, all these, you know, these things that that just made my practice feel so beautiful because I wasn't full of a bunch of shit, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So I loved it. And it felt so connecting to my body and to my spirit just to flow like that.
Wow. And does this point still feel mid-process for you? You know, so like what's a month from now, even though you're not like going to be still in like the deepest part of the cleanse at all,
Right.
But you know, it's like this feeling and this transformation, it's just going to keep going.
Right. And
right.
what I'm noticing, I definitely have had a lot of practice doing like Whole30s and different elimination diets and different things like that. This is completely different, but also just a lot of practice in, you know, a number of days and following a protocol and reading labels and that kind of thing. But I'm not sure. I kind of lost my thought there. But, oh yeah. But this got so testing towards the last week.
Yeah.
So testing in my mind. And it still is, it's still what I'm noticing now is more of the mind stuff coming in. Like I want to have, let me stuff my, like when I could eat normal, even though the normal's different now, but I mean, I kind of went a little bit nuts the first day.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
You know, I was just like, taste, hummus, cucumbers, tomatoes, you know, and so I learned right then, okay, this is where you connect your mind and your body while you're putting things in your mouth. So, you know, eat smaller amounts, wait, see how you feel. How is it impacting your body? So this is a practice that, you know, on a Whole30, you can eat as much as you want, really. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's no limits. It's limited to what you eat, but not how much you eat. And this was kind of limited what you eat, but also really the amount because I was so, my stomach was shrinking up. Like I didn't have the capacity to eat like I would normally eat. And my girlfriend, you know, she goes, oh, my girlfriend can eat. So I can eat. I love to eat.
I know you can eat. Yeah.
I love flavor. I love crunch. I love textures. I love food. But my relationship with food is shifting. And that is where my work lies right now. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Yeah. Okay.
Totally, because feeding yourself pre-cleanse and post-cleanse when you're doing the deep work, like, you know, share with everybody that you've gotten out probably the majority of all of your mucoid plaque, maybe all of it, and probably whenever we do like colonics for you, it's like it should be really obvious to us, you know, but it's like you've gotten so much out of your body that like when we start putting back in, it's like we do have to be delicate. Because again, it's like when you remove that mucoid plaque out of the lining of your intestines and you're doing all this rehabilitative work, well, now anything that goes through you, it's just going to like literally just be absorbed and assimilated so much easier, right? Because it doesn't have to like somehow permeate through the mucoid plaque first before it gets to the intestinal lining that's going to start absorbing your food. Right. So it's like, right, that's why whatever you're putting in, and that's why the other day I even mentioned about ingredients, because even like mono mealing when you're coming off of the cleanse, or it's like I'm going to eat something, or like I'm only going to eat 2 or 3 or 4 different ingredients in the day, you know, because it can just like, we're not just affecting how we're digesting, it's like that huge part of our nervous system, you know?
It's open.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. So kind of like, after you get eye surgery, wait, I don't know if this analogy is good, but after you get eye surgery, it's like you're not going to go onto a sunny beach. You're going to have to wear your sunglasses for a bit and like really acclimatize, right?
Mm-hmm.
So kind of similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's where I noticed my mind, because my body wasn't craving these foods. My tongue was, my mind was. I missed this. I want this,
Yeah.
but it was all up here, because
Yeah.
then my body said, oh, that was a little too much, Kimberly.
Yeah, yeah. And a good hack, if everybody or anybody ever wants it, it's like when we know that the hunger is like mostly up here and the want and the desire and need is all up here and not actually in the body, it's totally okay to like eat something, chew it, get the taste, and spit it out. Like, as weird as that seems, when I was back healing, and it was again at a point where I thought that I had cancer. So I thought that I had to be so careful, like so careful to not die, even though that wasn't the situation. But then even then, it's like I would be just so careful about what I actually ingest. But when I just want the flavor of something or the texture of something, sometimes I would just let my mouth play with the food. That sounds weird, but that's what it is. So worst case scenario, you could always spit it out and then it doesn't have to become a part of you.
Yeah. And I've heard of other people doing that before too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I just am like, give me the food. Give me the food. So this, like I said, this is where my work is now.
Yeah.
Is maintaining. And I lost 15 pounds, and I was drinking a gallon, if not more, usually more a day, because of the amount of stuff I was taking in. So, the first week you have lunch and you have dinner, and then you have all the psyllium and bentonite shakes throughout the day, and then it goes down to just lunch, and then it goes down to just psyllium and bentonite 5 times a day, and the water and the herbs. So yeah, by the time I got to the last week, it felt like nothing was really coming out. It was just debris. That's what I would say. It was just debris. Now, in the first, like immediately, because I prepped so well, the first few days, once I took the herbs, that's when that mucoid plaque was coming out. That's when that amazing green, bumpy looking, crazy, oh my gosh, how exciting stuff was coming out. It was a little disappointing towards the end, because I was like, oh, it's just regular debris.
Even with an enema, you weren't getting any more mucoid plaque out.
It didn't seem like it. Mm-mm.
Okay, amazing.
I mean, there was probably some mucus. There was mucus, but it just didn't seem like there was nothing like those long strands of amazingness that were coming out the first couple weeks.
Yeah. What did you think of that stuff coming out of you? Because a lot of people, right, aren't even aware that it's inside of them.
Right.
So, yeah.
That was warrior work. Like, to me, I was like, yes, that was so exciting. I would go, and then I would just turn around and look in the toilet and see what was there and play with it. And see how it moved, and see if it stayed together, see if I could string it up, like how solid is this, how congealed is this. I really wanted to know what was coming out of me. I took videos, I took pictures, you saw some of it. It was just and it also felt like I could tell I could tell from the inside that I was lightening up. I could tell from the inside something that didn't belong there was coming out. So then my stomach started to feel different, and then I'd feel things in my stomach. I'd hear things, and they would resonate in my stomach rather than in my heart. It was like a fuller body experience.
Mm-hmm.
It was like from the gut to the heart, or even the throat, depending, as opposed to everything sort of being up here. Because I'm more of an up here person.
Mm-hmm.
Because of my conditioning, my programming, I've been up here for a long time, and so to be able to feel something resonate in my stomach, like light fill my stomach, it was wild, beautiful, strange.
Yeah. Do you even mean like feeling this knowing like in your belly, like lower belly, intestines even? Yeah.
Yes.
And so was it more of just like an internal knowing, or is it actually also physical sensation you can feel?
I had physical sensation.
Okay.
I had physical sensation.
Like what kind of
And
sensation? Sorry, go on.
like a like a an energetic vibration, like a literal vibration. So not like a major zzz kind of thing, but just a vibration. And you know, I'm a Reiki practitioner too. So like I would put my hands on my stomach, and for the longest time I could energetically tap into my stomach. But now it's like it almost feels like my hands just go into my stomach. It's like I can really connect with, it's not almost, it does. It feels like my hands and my stomach are one now. So I love to lay at night. I love to lay in bed and just put my hands on my stomach. Now, if my stomach is full, if there's food hanging out in there, I mean, we're talking about the past, week or so, or not even a week. But if my stomach is full, if it's not the same.
Right.
So when my stomach is empty, that's when I have the most connecting experience with myself.
So talk about the difference of when you actually have a full belly. And when you're saying hands on your stomach, we're not always meaning literally your stomach organ. I'm assuming you actually mean just like your hands on your abdomen, like on your digestive.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Just
Yeah. When I moved to America, I found out that most adults don't know like where the stomach is. So I always
You would think I'd know, but I don't.
It's okay. It's okay. So where were we going with that? I'm so sorry.
So you were asking about the difference in the physical
sensation. Yeah. So when you are more full of food, whether it's today's food and some of yesterday's food, or it's been maybe a week since we've done an enema, like when you're just fuller, what does that feel like?
It feels like nothing.
Okay.
You know
Does
what I'm
it feel
saying?
like this trying to make it happen? Like
yes.
Like the mind is trying to feel it in the gut.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. So it's like, where? Come on.
Yeah.
So
and you're like, feel it, know it.
It's like this effort. But when my stomach is empty, and it's not having to do anything, but be there with me, it just, I don't know how to describe it other than it just feels like an energetic sinking in, like here's my stomach and my hands in like this.
Right.
I love that feeling.
Oh yeah. Doesn't it become so apparent that it's like, if we're truly searching for this contact, this spiritual connection, being so like, within that 5D space versus that 3D space, doesn't it, like when you've gone through this experience that you have in the last month, and especially in the last couple of weeks, doesn't it make it so obvious that it's like, if you want that, you have to clean yourself out?
It is
like, that's truly what insourcing is, right?
That is.
Yeah, because how do you create that external yet still internal connection when it's like we're so foggy inside, we're so buffered inside, we have so much in us, but the stuff that's in us isn't benign. The stuff that's in us is literally matter rotting inside of us.
Yeah, and it's just taking up energy. Yeah.
Yes. And it's taking up bandwidth, and it's sitting in there next to our blood supply. It's sitting in there against our full immune system. It's sitting in there again, like within our whole nervous system and our enteric nervous system. So it's like it's actively, constantly influencing like the major components of your body, the major systems of your body. Mm-hmm. Right?
Oh yeah. I'm 50. I have so much experience sabotaging my body.
Yeah.
And knowing what that feels like, and finally getting to a point where I'm like, nah, I can't, I don't want this anymore. I want to feel vibrant. To me, you can choose to, live a life where your body's having to do a lot of work and your mind's having to do what your mind has to do to make up for it. And then it's not even working right because you're so full of shit, literally. And but it's like, that could be your choice. But for me, I got to a point where I was just like, I'm done with the self-sabotage. I'm not saying I'm going to be perfect or whatever, but that was a real big turning point for me. Like, if I want what I want, if I want to truly ascend, if I truly want to be connected to God, if I truly want to be connected to myself, this is required of me in this moment. How much longer am I going to wait? You know, do it. Just go. It's go time. It's go time for all of us.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Can you imagine having had not done this? Not just finally been like, okay, Ivy, tomorrow I'm gonna start. Tomorrow I'm starting.
No, and what I would be doing is I'd be beating myself up. I would be feeling a lot of regret and a lot of guilt, and just not in my heart, and not having this relationship with myself that has kicked in because I've kicked this stuff out, and I'm so grateful for the book, Cleanse and Purify Thyself. I'm just so grateful for that book, because it lays out the impact of big pharma. It lays out the impact of cooked foods. It lays out the impact of the industries that poison us, and the stuff in the air, and the stuff in our waters, and the stuff in needles, and all those things, so that you can make a really educated decision. Like, when you really read and you understand what is happening to you on purpose. So making the choice to break free from that piece of the matrix is work, but it's so worth it, because then it becomes, once you break your body free, then it's exponential from there. It's like, then you lift higher, then you understand more, then you gain more insight. So it just compounds on itself. It is the beginning. It is the beginning. To me, I've tried sitting, I've tried meditating, I've tried yoga. I mean, I do those things still, but I mean, I tried all these different things to bring myself to a heightened spiritual awareness, to more connection with God, to more connection with my heart, with my body. None of it could do the trick until I took personal responsibility for my mouth hole and what I was putting in it.
And also personal responsibility to get the stuff out of your butthole.
Yes.
Stuck in there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that is, to me, that is the first step. Now that I understand, now that I've experienced that. And it is one of the hardest things. And there's lots of things that I've seen that are like, if you can conquer what's going on between your ears, when it comes to food, and when it comes to what you're drinking and eating, and how you're caring for your body, if you can conquer that self-talk, if you can conquer that self-sabotage, you have it made. You're just going to go.
Oh yeah. Right? And even for the position that you're in now, it's like, you're never going to have mucoid plaque in your body again. You accidentally lived the human life, and over 5 decades you built it up. So now it's like you've gotten all that out, and because you're different, then you're always now forever different, because that's no longer in you. That you're never going to create an opportunity ever for that to build up. So you're never going to have that pressure inside. You're never going to have that inertia, or that whatever the terminology is that's right for you. It's like you're never that person ever again.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, and it's an ongoing series of choices, and it's an ongoing series of cleansing. So it's like, it's not a one-time shot. So, life is constantly giving us stuff to work with.
This current world, yeah.
So whether it be food, because I don't grow my own food. You know what I'm saying? So I don't grow my own food. I've tried, and I've gotten 2 tomatoes, and that's it. So it's like, I don't know how to do that stuff yet. But, so I have to go to the grocery store. I have to source my food from somewhere else. And I don't know where that food's been, what that food's been through, energetically or chemically. So it is my work to continually take part in cleaning my body periodically, I would say. I mean, the protocol for my light turned off. The protocol for this particular system, they say I think like every couple months. So I mean, that's how impactful this stuff that you put in your mouth is. So you really want to be on top of that and notice when you're starting to go to fog, notice when you're starting to feel disconnected, and then say, okay, what have I been eating? You know, how is it impacting me? You know, because we're talking about your thoughts too. What have I been thinking? What have I been eating?
Yeah.
You know, where have I been? You know, how much have I been in nature? All those things. So how can I get clean again? You know, and it's not going to require 28 days. Probably it might require 7, or, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So the ease of it, having done what I've done as the setup, will make a huge difference.
Oh, yeah. And then cleansing keeps changing also with you, you know, because sometimes it's like we want to start now cleansing more seasonally, you know. So now that you've got your body to this point, it's like we always keep daily gentle detoxification methods in our lifestyle. We're always drinking the water every day. We're drinking our alkaline 9.5. You know, we're eating our fruits and veggies. We're going to start using our ORP meter and doing great things to make sure we're eating the most living things. I'm sure you and I are both going to start drinking our own urine. I'm sure that's going to be our daily practice, probably starting next week, you know. But then it's like, and also I think that you and I should start doing liver cleanses, because that's an amazing thing that we can educate people on and walk them through as well.
Yeah.
But then it's like, okay, spring's coming, and for fall, when fall comes, I mean, I guess we're moving into fall right now, but you've just done your cleanse on time. But like in future years, it's like we're going to really take advantage of the changes of the seasons, and even like, you know, eating more seasonally. So it keeps growing you forward, right? As we learn to keep cleansing. But you know, now that you're this version of you, like you'll never let yourself slide back. You know, it might be like, oh, we slid half a step back, and it just starts slightly reminding us slightly of what the old was like for us.
Right.
And right, that wisdom comes in, and we're like, oh, I know how this feels. I'm going to water fast tomorrow, or whatever the remedy that we internally automatically know is supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
It gets so easy. I mean, it's still not like easy, but it's so much easier than being full of shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
This is your body is your temple.
Yeah.
Your body is your gift. Your body is your vehicle, right? That's getting you through life.
Yeah.
You have to take care of your car. You've said this a bunch of times in some of these lives. It's like you wouldn't just not change the oil in your car. You wouldn't not put gas in it, or whatever the case may be. But it's like, you know, this is my vehicle, my vessel to go through this life in this moment with. And if I can choose to be unhealthy, well, more than unhealthy, I can choose to live a sedentary life. I can choose to moan and complain. I can choose not to take care of myself. I can choose, you know, the path of sickness, illness.
Thanks, Eric. We will piss excellence.
But that's just not honoring what God has given me.
Exactly. And now that you not only like know better up here, it's like you feel like you know the necessity of this from an internal place, from a cellular knowing, you know the necessity of this, right? And just like you're saying with a car, it's like, well, I wouldn't, like, I know if I don't change the oil, shit's gonna go wrong. If I don't put some air in the tires once in a while, shit's gonna go bad, right? Yep. Same thing. It's like, we know if I never brush my teeth, I'm gonna have dental problems,
right?
Right. That's the top of the shit tube. So from your mouth hole to butthole, everybody, if you haven't heard us say this before, you're just like a glorious, magnificent 33-ish foot long tube, right? And so we know how to care for the very top of the mouth hole. We know how to care for our ears and eyes and nose and sinus and mouth and teeth and everything. But then the rest of the tube, we're just like, nope, we're not even going to think about it. You know, and then we're just going to ignore it. And then we're going to have all of these problems because of it. But when we just take care of the whole tube, clean out whatever, like you said, like when you started getting stuff out of you, that when it came out, you're like, I know that that's not supposed to be in me, right?
Exactly.
And people even like say like, oh, well, like something with colon hydrotherapy, do you get addicted to colon hydrotherapy? Does your body need it? And I always tell people that like, you're not going to be addicted in that sense. The way that you will start feeling addicted is that when you actually start moving this dark matter out of your body, you're going to be like addicted to the process because something inside of you is finding like, oh my God, this whole time I've needed to get this stuff out of me for years. Right. And you start recognizing that it's like you don't even know what it feels like to be clean because you've been slowly packing this shit in for decades. So it's been like since you've been a newborn that you've been pure, truly, right? So when we start getting this darkness out and we know that it doesn't belong because of how it looks, how it smells, like it's beyond normal poop looking. And when you start getting it out, it's like instantaneously you're becoming a different person because you're purging darkness that's been there for so long, right?
Yeah.
It's such good shit. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. Like, I know it's a lot to do. But again, you'll never have it in you. Again.
Right. And I'm proud of myself too. I mean, I don't know any other words to say except for, way to go to me, because that was a lot of freaking work and worth it on all levels, but a lot of work, I mean, I had to time everything. I timed my world. Luckily, I was quarantined for a period of time. Yeah. Because everything that was happening in our house. But, it's like, everything really revolved around, I have to do this in 90 minutes. And then I do this 90 minutes later or 2 hours later. So everything was really timed. And, so I love structure like that anyway. Like that's actually easier for me, but it took me a minute to get into that groove. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I kept a notebook. So I have a notebook. Every day I'd write down the time. I'd check off how much water I drank. And so every day, and then I'd know, okay, I took I drank my first shake at 7:30 in the morning. So then I'd know at 9 a.m., then I take my herbs. And
for everybody to know that your shake is just simply the psyllium and bentonite. Mm-hmm. It's not a shake. It's just psyllium and bentonite.
Yep. It was psyllium and bentonite. And I put a little bit of juice in there because the gagging. Oh my God. You could do like 4 ounces. The protocol for me was you could do 4 ounces of juice, 6 ounces of water, and then I down 10 ounces of water after. So I tracked the clear water is what I tracked. I didn't track the water from the shake. Okay. And then with my herb set, I would take about 26 ounces of water in with that. Okay. And then keep drinking throughout the day. And so that was, once I was in the master phase, that was 5 times a day.
Wow. Well, and for how kind of rigid and structured it was, like, look at your results. Right? Like for people to recognize that it's literally like, get this book. And people don't even need the book. Just the book is going to download you with so much wisdom. That's gosh. And this is a book that's written in the 90s. Like somebody lent me that book when I was in Kauai 7 years ago. And that's how I just randomly ended up with it. I should have given it back, but Soul was like, no, keep this, But that book plus the herbs and then just doing the things. Yeah. That's it. It's going to work. It's going to work for everybody.
Yeah. And you don't so I bought the protocol that I bought, I have like a book, a little pamphlet that came with it. And I bought basically the herb sets, the psyllium, the bentonite, and the probiotics. Okay. So I got all that, for 28 days. And then having done this, I'm like, you actually don't need all that. So you could just get the herb sets.
Yeah.
And
And
then
get
you
your
could,
own psyllium, own bentonite, use your own probiotic, right?
yeah, yeah, that's what I'm going to do on my next go around.
Yeah.
So, so then it's just a matter of lining it up for time, making sure that you're eating alkaline foods. So it was 20% could be cooked and 80% raw. So the other thing, and I didn't eat until like 1 o'clock.
Okay.
So during my eating times, I wouldn't eat lunch until like 1 o'clock. So you're kind of doing some intermittent fasting in there too. What was I going to say? Oh, and then definitely the prepping up to it. So this is something that's really doable. Like anybody could do this. The thing is, it's the herb sets that are really important. It's the combination of herbs. And he really explains it in the book of how he came about, coming across these herbs and starting to lose mucoid plaque while they were out in the wilderness, and they were they were eating mostly raw and stuff. And then they found these herbs and they were working with them. And then he discovered this protocol that really, really works. And there's probably other cleanses out there that you could use. But for me, I've done different cleanses before and I did not get these results. And in the eating of the alkaline foods was crucial, in my opinion. And that's why I think that right out of the gate, I started releasing the mucoid plaque, because I did that 11 days completely raw vegan. So it was, like I said, mostly watermelon, really, and grapes.
Yeah.
But my body was so ready to let it go.
And you had been doing a lot of bowel work for like 6 months beforehand too.
True that.
But honestly, like, remember, we did 7 colonics for you. Hey, Jess, we did 7 colonics for you in a pretty short amount of time. Do you remember, like, back in February, March, April, somewhere in there, maybe? I don't even remember.
Time is so weird now.
But through 7 colonics in close succession with enemas in between, you were not releasing mucoid plaque. So I was scratching my head like, does she not have any? She has to. So that really says, though, like, even though you're doing a lot of bowel work, it's like that shit was stuck in your body. If I couldn't get any of it moving in 7-hour-long colonics, it's like that stuff was really, really stuck in there. But then to see like that the herbs must have done such a tremendous help. And psyllium and bentonite 5 times a day. Holy moly, right? Yeah. Like, yeah, and because people say like, well, there's got to be other ways to get this stuff out, But it's repeated warm, purified water up your butt, and then it's all of the right things down this end to basically act as a natural Drano, right? To release the stuff that's literally been built up in your body up to 5 decades.
Right.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing shit. Good job. Yeah.
It's so wild. But for me, it was really important for me also to understand what was happening in my body and to really get that education from the book. That really helped, because it really drove it home for me. Just understanding too that this is how we're poisoned is on purpose. And how we're poisoned is to keep us disconnected from ourselves and from God and each other. And so understanding that for me was a huge catalyst.
When did you start understanding that?
Well, probably, so when I started waking up, I was really not in that field of learning more about health. I was more in like, we're getting poisoned all the time and not really doing anything about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That was kind of like, okay, well, if they can do this to us, then this stuff must be happening too. So it kind of woke me up to that. Yeah. But, I used to listen to your podcasts and stuff, when you would talk about cleansing. I learned a lot there, but it all still was disconnected from really why for me, because I'd never put the why next to what was happening in my body. Like, why do I want this not to be happening? Why, you know, until I started really reading. This book was really impactful for me.
It was such a good book.
And then our conversations around the book too,
right?
You know, it's just, it's wild. It's wild what we do to ourselves and don't even realize we're doing it. And until we have a major health challenge, because I've had several health challenges, perceived health challenges, you know, and then realizing, wait a minute, this all had to do with what I was putting in my mouth, you know, being diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia, IBS, all that.
Yeah, and it's all right. It's the elbow. It's this thing.
Damn elbow. I mean, it makes sense. I'm eating a meal, I'm eating salad or whatever I'm eating, and then I'm drinking a Coke, right? Well, no wonder I got diarrhea 10 minutes before I finished my meal, and I can't even finish a whole meal without going to the bathroom. Well, no, because I'm putting like
poison in. You're putting poison in, so your body's going to have to be like, oh my God, how do we get this out? Right? How do we get it out as soon as possible?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's, our bodies know what to do if we give them the things that, if we give our body what it needs, it will do exactly what it's meant to do for us.
Right? It's like, it's stepping out of our own way. So how we're shooting ourselves in the feet, whether it's like you're not putting yourself to bed at a good time, you're dehydrated, you're having the Coke with dinner, like all of the different things that we do to shoot ourselves in the foot. Sometimes it's even just taking the birth control pill every day, or like there's a billion things that we do. So we stop doing those things so that our body doesn't have to constantly mitigate just the things that we constantly do. And then we provide ample intelligent support. And then it's like, again, body's blueprint is to heal. So body is going to heal. And you know, for people to really understand that, like, if you have not gotten out your mucoid plaque yet with your yeast and with your parasites and with everything else, if that's still inside of you, then even like this conversation with us, it's like there isn't a way to truly know what we're talking about because it's only experiential. You know what I mean? To like not have that internal pressure. But if you've got it inside of you, you don't, like, you could maybe imagine what it would be like to not have it, but you also can't because it's been with you generally for a really, really long time. And even for you being like, well, I lost 15 pounds. You know, people will probably interpret that as she lost 15 pounds of fat. But no, like understanding that we store toxicity in our fat cells. So when we are cleaning out fat, we're really cleaning out toxicity from the body still. But it's like you lost in that 15 pounds, like, of course, some of that's fat, but it's toxicity and most of it is shit. It is shit that's been lodged within your small intestine and your large intestine for a super, super long time. So you didn't have to go to the gym for an hour, 5 days a week to lose 15 pounds. You didn't have to do anything. All you had to do was regulate what's going in this hole very intelligently, right? And then make sure that shit's getting out the bottom hole. And all of that weight came out by shitting. You weren't saunaing, you weren't exercising, you were shitting. Yeah. So that's why, like, because weight struggle is such a thing for so many people. And so for everybody to understand that the weight struggle and the body struggle comes down to and these three things all go together. Your inflammation, your dehydration, and your toxicity. Yep. And any of those can be first or second or third. They're all like really there for first place. So we work on the detox, the dehydration, and the inflammation, and then the weight comes out. But it's going to come out your butt.
That's exactly what happened. I've done, like I said, I've done numerous Whole30s, okay? Yeah. And I would lose maybe about 9 pounds, and then it'd come right back on, of course. But I was doing CrossFit. I was working my ass off for that 9 pounds in 30 days.
So what's harder though? What's harder?
That was harder.
Right? It's harder than this, right?
That was harder, but it's because I was basically fasting in a way. Yeah. And then the last week, you know, it was like I was snacking. So I was eating grapes and I was having some watermelon.
We're talking on Whole30 or we're talking what you just did?
This cleanse. Yeah. So I was still having some snacks here and there. But you don't exercise because I didn't have a lack of energy, but you just don't want to exert your energy. You don't want your body to be doing that work when your body's doing a cleansing.
Yeah.
So it was like I could take a walk with the pup. You know, I sat on my vibration plate a lot or stood on it, depending what I felt like doing, because that's sort of meditative for me. I love that thing. But I didn't, you know, I did some yoga, but I didn't do hardly anything. And 15 pounds to me is massive. That's massive.
You lost 15 pounds in a month. Really, and what the average is, they say 2 pounds a week is what is safe. It's like, but really, it's like 2 pounds in a week? Yeah, still, you doubled that, you know? And again, you did not have to exert yourself hard at all. You needed to control up here and then just be on a schedule with what's going into this hole. You didn't even get a single colonic. You just relied on your enemas at home.
Yep.
Like, it's so easy for people. It just takes us being strong up here. But like you said, once we have the understanding of like why, and like for sure it's in you too, for sure, no matter what, right? Then it becomes like the warrior's journey of just being like, oh,
it is.
I'm gonna fucking do it.
It is, and there's a lot of people that we're connected with on Instagram. A lot of great truthers out there, and now I'm seeing so many of them say you've got to clean out your body first. You've got to start with that, and that makes me so happy that message is coming out from all these, you know, these people, these ordinary people that are stepping up and you know, helping people, serving in this way. And it's, and they're almost all of them are like, you got to start. It starts on you know, they say go within. Yes, go within. But if you're within, it's so completely polluted and full of shit, then to me, it's pointless. And I know from experience, and I can say that with my whole heart from experience. You know, it's pointless to try all that other stuff until you get your body cleaned out. Pointless.
Mic drop.
Because I have tried.
Yeah.
Because I am that person. I'm probably screaming now, but I am that person that I love a quick fix. Like, I love a quick fix. Yeah. You know?
You don't even read the instructions, girl.
No. And this is I tell Ivy this a lot. I don't like to read instructions. I like to just figure things out.
It's good that we balance each other.
And I want things to be easy, and I want it to be simple, and I want this and I want that. And that didn't buy me anything. I didn't gain anything from that. I had to take that route of cleaning, working with my mind, really, really working with my mind, and educating myself about what was going on inside my body. You can't that is something you cannot bypass.
No. Massage therapists often say that the issue is in the tissue. Yeah. But really it's like, and the shit is in the shit. Right? Yeah. But keeping it inside of you or talking yourself into believing that it's not inside of you is like, that's all spiritual bypassing.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah.
And gosh, I mean, that's just a tidbit about me, about that, wanting everything to be like that. That, you know, that has been the story of my life. So now I'm working through, you know, honoring the methods and honoring the path of cleaning out my body, or, you know, moving my body in new ways. And now that I'm clean, so, you know, it's, you know, next is kind of like, do the shadow work, right? So there's all the shadow work that everybody talks about. And that's important stuff. I couldn't even connect with the shadow work before because I couldn't get to my feelings before, because I was constantly, maybe not constantly, but much of the time I was in a high anxiety state because I was not released from the bondage inside my gut. Yeah. So I was in that high anxiety state, and so I couldn't get in touch with my feelings. I couldn't connect with doing the shadow work. I started doing shadow work at the beginning of the cleanse and really just couldn't get into my feelings. I couldn't really do anything. And now it's like, well, I feel more buoyant and more joyful, period. But, you know, I know that there's still that deep work to do. But, it's like now I can feel.
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid of the feels because the anxiety of feeling has been lifted.
Right. Yeah. And also remembering that, like, often when our gut is more polluted, that anxiety feeling is just there because it's like your gut nervous system is inflamed and it's
Yeah.
sending messages up to this brain of inflammation, right? Which we'll interpret as generally forms of anxiety, forms of depression, right? And isn't it so interesting that in order for you to start doing the shadow work, like really doing the shadow work, it's like you have to literally clean the shadow out of your body, out of your butt. And when you were like butt bondage, girl, it's butt bondage. And like not the sexy kind. It's the really, really real kind. Right?
My butt was in bondage. My gut was in bondage. But truly, it is. And it was something that I did to myself in a lot of ways. And then part of it is just the environment, this environment that we live in. So you really taking the effort, making the effort to do it is some strong warrior stuff.
Yeah. How far in did it take you until you started noticing like the physical or emotional or spiritual effects of it?
I would say I started feeling the physical within the first 5-6 days, for sure. When I started releasing a lot of stuff, the spiritual stuff, our audience could probably watch the lives and start to see how I start transitioning, because even the way I come forward has changed. Yeah. We record and now I feel so in my element. So I feel like I'm connected to my body, and so I feel more natural.
Amazing.
Yeah. And that probably, maybe 2 weeks.
Okay.
I mean, really. But because I did that prepping, so I really want to count that prepping as part of that 2 weeks, because, the herbs, yes, the herbs were pushing the stuff out, but I brought up my body's alkalinity, for those 11 days so that the stuff could happen rapidly.
Yeah, exactly.
That all makes sense, right?
No, that makes perfect sense. So would you repeat this? Would you do it again?
Yes. In fact,
of course, I'm going to keep doing stuff like this forever.
Okay. This will tell you how much I will keep doing this. So, I ordered this herb set already. Again, I have it.
Yeah.
And I ordered it again today. So I have another set to start. So I'm going to do probably a 7-day in about a week or so. I'll let you guys know. But
I want to do it with you.
I know. But yeah, I went ahead and I ordered, because they run out fast. So I wanted to get it in and have it, for whenever I was ready to do it. So
what's the name? AriseandShine.com.
AriseandShine.com. Yep.
Like the full words, arise and shine.com.
Yes. And
she lost 15 pounds, Fendi Lou. 15 pounds, but remember, that's toxicity and shit and fat, of course, but it's really toxicity, and you lose it all by shitting it out. You don't have to exercise it off.
Right.
Yeah.
And so AriseandShine.com, their protocol is based on the book that Richard Anderson wrote, Cleanse and Purify Thyself. Book 1.5 is the one that I love so much. See, it's
Show the book. Yeah, so it's book number 1.5, guys. This whole time I always keep thinking that it's written by a woman, like the way that it's written, and then it's so spiritually charged, that, and there's this grace within the writing.
It's beautiful.
It's a really amazing. It's one of the most amazing books, like probably one of the most important health related books you could ever purchase. And again, it was already written like 30 years ago, but all of it is perfect for right now.
Yeah. And it, because it does talk about what's going on right now. It actually does. It talks about germ theory. It talks about vaccinations. It talks about all the pathogens kidneys, liver. But I just opened to chapter 7, why cleanse, the goal and benefits. And the first thing it says is love. You know, love is the happiest and most fun thing in the universe. Love flows naturally when we have removed the resistance to it. Joy and happiness are the natural byproducts of love. Cultivate love and joy for healing. So in the book, there's all these, like, see how it's darkened and stuff. You could literally read the book and just read the darkened, what is it, bold. Yeah. You could get through this book and just read the bold and still get stuff from it. You could get this book, you could flip it open, just start reading something and get something out of it. And that's how I started. I just flip back and forth and get sucked in. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, I'm starting at the beginning. So it's amazing. And then the book I read after that was Honoring the Temple of God, a Christian perspective, health perspective. This was another amazing book, and it teaches you a lot about hydration and chlorella and spirulina and other ways you can detoxify your body. So I was also taking chlorella and spirulina during this cleanse too. So I was taking about 8 tablets a day to help with the detox. But all my other supplements, I let those go. I didn't take any other supplements other than the ones. Well, I took vitamin D, but everything else I let go of. And then, of course, if you order the cleanse from Arise and Shine, you get this handy dandy book. But you can also get this book for free if you go on their website. So you can get that book without even having to make the purchase, like a download.
You know, we should probably put that in our link tree or in our page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see the protocol, you can see the types of foods to eat, you can see the times, you can see, but really the main, most important thing you would need if you wanted to do this protocol is you would need those herbs. And their herbs, the one herb is called chomper.
Yeah.
And the other one is herbal supplement. It's a herbal something, but chomper, I just imagine that going into my body and just.
Right. Because that's the thing that really helps to loosen the mucoid plaque, right? Yeah. No, it's so good. It's so good. Good. So is there anything else that you wanna feel is important to share about the experience?
Well, I just want to say again, it's worth it on every level. It's required. It's required work.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it is warrior work, and it is the way to reconnect with yourself.
Yeah. If, for anybody that's watching now or that will watch in the future, whatever, how the stuff comes up. Do you remember even with like maybe 2 or 3 months ago when I suggested something extremely similar to this to you? Do you remember, like, without those extra herbs and stuff, I basically like outlined like, this would work for what you really, really want. And do you remember there's all the stuff that comes up though, right? Like, what would you say to people who right now you're like, this is required of us, this is needed for our deep work right now, and they have something come up? What would you say to that, knowing the stuff that comes up, the stuff that's very automatic to protect us or to stop us from doing the work?
So your mind's job is to keep you the same. Your brain's job is to just have those thoughts that just keep you stuck in one spot all the time. Notice when your mind's doing that and it doesn't make it true. Just because your mind is telling you something, or even somebody else is telling you something, it doesn't make it true. So this though is explicitly true, that your body needs to be cleaned out.
Yeah. It's impossible that we just make this up and tell it to people, for people to really know, like, you are a living example of this right now. You had a whole bunch of junk in your trunk and you got it out and you're a different person now.
And your mind is going to jump in numerous times, and your mind is going to, and if you're a self-sabotager like me, I'm an expert self-sabotager.
Me too. Me too.
And we all have our things, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, check out what your mind's trying to do. Yeah. And then get, okay, I feel this way. So I feel tired, I feel brain fog, I feel whatever. is it worth it to listen to my mind, or is it worth it to go for it? And there's support out there. Gosh, there's support out there. I mean, that's why we're here. And just remember, it's just your mind doing its job, but it doesn't make it true. It doesn't make it right.
No.
Because I can assure you with my whole heart that you're worth it. You are worth cleaning your body out. You are worth connecting with yourself. You're worth feeling all your feelings.
Yeah.
You're so worth it. That's what you're here to do.
Yeah, because you're going to become more you without the darkness that's trapped inside that we pretend isn't, right? Like we become us again when we clean out. Yeah. But again, that's so hard to actually make sense of when you're not cleaned out yet, right? Yeah. It's such a different perspective. It's such a different point of reference. It's such a different station of identity, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Our minds are tricky, and that's just what they're supposed to be. They're just supposed to be little tricksters.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
also, I mean, we're programmed in these ways, right? Like this society has programmed us not to have this awareness, not to embody this wisdom, right? And again, that's even why some of this was omitted from the Bible of how to take care of the body. So like, yeah, we're here, all of us to do this work and together. Mm-hmm. I mean, like in our own bathrooms, but together in community, right?
Yeah. And remember too, yes, there's addictions and stuff. We get addicted to sugar. We get addicted to certain things. But like what I really noticed going on for me was that my taste buds were really like making my, triggering my brain. I want to taste this. I want to taste that, because I was missing those things. But now that I've surpassed that, I still want things, but I also am not making those choices because I know what the impact of that is going to be on my physical body. And what it does to my physical body is going to have impact on my brain. And so therefore it's this vicious cycle. So no, I'm not going to get involved in that anymore.
No, right? And you're going to have so much awareness now to so regulate it. Because even if you have like one meal where you're like, gosh, that was heavy, right? That was heavy in me. Then it's like the next day, it's like you're going to know how to automatically course correct. And you'll never let yourself go where it's like, shit, over the last 2 months, I just ate 10 pounds onto my body. Right. It's like that'll never happen again, because as soon as you're like the slightest bit feeling that pressure, you're like, okay, I'm a juice, or I'm a fast, I'm an enema, I'm a colonic, and then it's like, give it 2 days, and it's like you feel perfectly back to this very holy, empty, buoyant place of sanctity within yourself, right?
Yes, and that has been my exact experience since Saturday. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, today's Wednesday. So today was even the same thing. It was like, okay, that was a little too much. So then I wait and I just drink water, lots and lots of water. And then when I go to eat another meal, like when I went to eat dinner today, I ate half of what I would normally eat. And so I feel more connected. I feel more energetic.
I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I would always, like, when we go to a restaurant and the number of things that you'd order, I'd be jelly over it, because it's like, God, this woman loves food and I want to eat with her, but so yeah, but this is such a special place to be, because you, like, clearly you have that internal dialogue, you have that communication between your digestive organs and that's more of the first brain than this one. But it's like, right, the two brains are properly connected now. So you're only going to go forward in the best of ways now. You're never going to let yourself backtrack, because as soon as you start feeling what it's like, oh God, I remember what this feels like. This reminds me of how I was before. You're automatically going to course correct. Like I've told you, like I've lost 43 pounds in the last 4 years, and it's because I've got this internal dialogue all the time. I've always stayed within a 5 pound range effortlessly, because that dialogue is there, so there's never, eating myself into a place of inflammation, or constipating myself into inflammation and disease states, or growing my yeast so much that my cravings are out of control, because it's like, oh, it's like even, 2 days go by and you're like, okay, I just ate a lot of food and I feel really full and I feel cloudy. And now I notice my energy, I notice my sleep. I also notice that I'm more irritable. So like, okay, it's time to purify again. And you just like, you clean the canvas, you clean the slate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it becomes easy.
Yes.
Right? Like way easier than what it used to be like.
Yeah. Like one day, like today, start out good, a little too heavy, early and midday early.
Yeah.
Back it off. And then now I'm back in that position in my body where I am clearer and more vibrant. So I did it in one day. So I could course correct in one day.
Yes. Right? Because there's just that constant dialogue with your body. It's so amazing. It's so amazing. I'm so appreciative for you because I'm going to reap so many benefits as your business partner, but also like this experience to me is invaluable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. With everything we're bringing forward,
you see, this was a prereq for you.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's unlike anything I've ever done before. I mean, this is very special and very different. Very special and very different.
You've done amazing. You've done amazing. And one other thing that I noticed, like when you eat this way, when you're course correcting throughout the day, to create time without snacking, right? And hydrate in that time. So you intentionally create chunks of like hours throughout the day where you're like, I'm hydrating right now. Like even sometimes like when I'm cooking dinner where it's like, I'm going to be eating in 30 or 45 minutes. And sometimes like, I'll be like, ooh, I want to taste that. Or my husband will come by and be like, here, have a bite of this. And I'm like, I'll just be like, no, I'm hydrating right now. Like literally like in this function of time right now, I have to hydrate because this is my window for hydration. Do you know what I mean?
That really, what you said is a good practice to use to say, I am hydrating right now. I am fasting right now, or whatever. Saying I am hydrating right now, this is my hydration time, but I am adding that to it. That's a really good practice, and that will help. If anybody listening, I believe that can help drive that for you so that you can just keep backing off. No, I am hydrating. I am hydrating. And I used to, like you were saying, like taste, snack, taste. By the time it was time to eat, I wasn't even hungry.
Oh, exactly. Well, if I can add like on a physiological aspect to what you're saying and onto what I was saying, is like right now it's okay, I'm hydrating. For the next 20 minutes until dinner, it's like I'm gonna chug a whole liter or whatever, right? But it's like during this time that I'm hydrating, if I put a piece of food in my mouth, like when I'm just hydrating and just drinking the good water, it's like that water is going to instantaneously start permeating my body through my blood, through my organs. Like I'm literally hydrating right now. If I stick a piece of food in my mouth, I immediately, my stomach and then the rest of my digestive organs, they have to now start a new process. They have to suddenly now start a digestive process where in that process, I can't keep chugging water because then the digestive process won't go properly. So when I say like I'm hydrating right now, it's like, okay, during, from 1 o'clock in the afternoon until 5 o'clock in the evening, until I eat, it's like, I'm going to just drink water and I'm going to drink so much water. I don't like, if I put in a piece of food, it's like I'm screwing up the hydration process. Then I'm starting a dehydration or a digestive process, right? So for you, if you just keep putting food in your mouth, every time you do that, like, or even people that snack all the time, it's like you put more food in and then, your gallbladder and your stomach are like, okay, let's get back to work. You put another thing back in your mouth 20 minutes later, 40 minutes later, another 30 minutes later. It's like every time it's like you're knocking on your stomach's door being like, hey, get back to work. 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 And a lot of people think of how many times they do that in a day and then also the quality of things that they're making their body try to digest, right? While generally in a dehydrated and inflammatory place. So yeah, so like give yourself that gift of time multiple times in the day where it's like, okay, right now my homework with whatever I'm doing is hydration.
Yep. I love it.
Right? Yeah. Okay. Anything else that's really important to add about your journey? What is the best thing that you feel now? Like, what do you feel like? What do you feel like?
I think the best, I think what's one of the most exciting things is just, I feel a sense of accomplishment and connection to myself. So that to me is far more important than anything, because through that I can do all things, being connected to myself and being able to really hear what's going on and feel what's going on. So that's the biggest gift.
Amazing. That is like the biggest gift, isn't it?
That I gave to myself.
Right? And a gift that you'll never ungive to yourself.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I am so proud of you. Thank you for your vulnerability and also your courage for being willing to share this journey. You know, I know it's not easy, but it's so important. And again, like, this journey is way easier than not ever embarking on the journey, because that place sucks. It doesn't feel good on any level. Right? No. So like, doing the work is literally the easier thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a matter of days. It's not like, so the cleansing part, the rest of it all comes.
Yeah.
Comes as you go.
Amazing.
Yep.
Amazing. Well, good. Well, for anybody that's still here with us, we are opening up on October 1st our group community, community membership program is how I should say that, where we are holding the most sacred yet educational, enjoyable, gorgeous space for people on all levels of healing and cleansing and remembering thyself and all of that goodness. So we definitely want to invite everybody into that. For anybody that wants to cleanse and heal, but would like a loving hand held during it, because this is, uncharted territory for most all people. So we are your sisters here to help you get the junk out of the trunk, help you feel right in yourself, help you feel like yourself in a way that you don't even know yet.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Hello, meet yourself.
Right? It's like, we think you guys have met, but you've never really met yet. Right? Yep. Because us, without our mucoid plaque and all of the little critters and shit that goes with that, that's a very different version of us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay, awesome. Well,
thank you,
Kimberly. You're welcome. So we love you all, and we'll see you guys. Remember our podcast. We've got new podcasts up with Inspired Sovereignty Radio every Monday, and we love you all so much.
Yep.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.